Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1.
Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
Welcome into Masters Friday. Can you see my logo? So I try to stick it up there. It's a Masters Friday presented by Hydrate Heroes. We got all kinds of logos going on here. Good morning, everybody.
Ignore my Red Bull that I'm drinking then.
What? Until they start paying money, they get nothing. Go ahead. Kill yourself with that Red Bull. Go ahead. Just suck it down with all that sugar and stimulants.
This is number 4 this morning for me. Not even lying.
Oh, come on.
Started at 5:30 this morning.
While I'm drinking elderberry and zinc and magnesium and potassium and amla fruit and all the good things right here and hydrating my body, you put that poison in
I'm still waiting for my shipment from Hydrate Heroes to come in.
Well, we're going to give it to you before your heart expires. It's now become a medical
race.
Emergency.
It's a race against time.
Hydrate Heroes. Good God. Are you serious? You've had 4 Red Bulls already this morning? Good God, man.
Yeah, I had two yesterday. I love this stuff, man. I drink it with my vodka. I drink it when I'm not drinking vodka.
I used to drink the hell out of some Red Bull and vodka. Tito's and Red Bull was my go-to. Absolutely. But now I'm so much more reformed. Good morning to you, Nathan Elliott. How are you?
Nathan.
It's good to see Nathan up in the morning. And I have been up this morning working very hard for you people. I have been just sitting up in my bed watching Tiger Woods play golf since 7 o'clock this morning. It's so ridiculous. By the way, we got a great show for you today. We're going to get into the Lightning game last night. We'll do a little bit on that. Spring football is in the air. USF has their game coming up tomorrow. Sold out, by the way. So we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll get into some Rays stuff as the Giants come in this weekend. We're going to have a fascinating discussion on O.J. Simpson, I think. That's probably going to be part of the show today. Jason Light spoke yesterday and lied through his teeth. Well, as general managers are supposed to do this time of year. Absolutely. Yep. He did a great job. Well done, Jason. So yeah, we got lots to get to on. It's going to be kind of a funky Friday, folks. We're just going to be all over the place. So sit back, relax. We'll enjoy 2.5 hours maybe of talk of Tampa Bay sports and other topics. So we'll jump right into it. The Masters this morning. You know, we said this yesterday. I was afraid of this, Timmy, when the rains came and Tiger had a late tee time. It was like, he's going to have to get up like super early in the morning and be back out there to finish his round. And man, what a difference. Yesterday, his gate was great. He was 1 under. He really, and he should have been probably 3 or 4 under. Just played really well. Super solid golf. Was in the top, 30? Well, there's only 28 people that broke par. So he was in the top 30. I mean, it was like, I'm like, wow. Like Tiger Woods, this is really, really good. And, but you knew, because I think I've heard him say in some interviews or other people that it takes him like 3 or 4 hours to activate his body to play golf.
Yeah.
I mean, think about that. Your tee time's at, say, 10 o'clock in the morning. You know, you got to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning if you're Tiger Woods. Yeah. Now, if your tee time is at 7 o'clock in the morning, or what was it, 7:45, I think, or something they started this morning, let's start backing up the clock on that. And he went to bed. You know, he got off the course at 8 o'clock last night. Probably isn't in bed until 10, or asleep till 10. He's probably up at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Easy, yeah. And he
I bet he didn't have 4 Red Bulls like you did this morning.
See?
Maybe he did. No, he had Monster because there's Monster on his bag. So
there he is. Oh, he's got Monster on his bag. That's right. I forgot about that.
I didn't know that. Like, I didn't know Monster.
New.
I thought so too. But I texted my great friend Mike Santamasso, my high school buddy, who was like the marketing manager, was just at Augusta with Tiger. He just left yesterday. I said, "When did you get Tiger on the bag?" He said 5 years ago.
Dude, I've never seen a Monster logo on his bag.
I haven't either.
Or a shirt or a hat, and I know they're all different sponsorship levels, right? Wherever you want to put it.
Yeah.
And the bag's on the low end of that. But I've never seen that on his bag before yesterday.
You know what? I'm gonna text him and see if I can get him on the show this morning. But I'm sure that anybody who sponsors Tiger never likes to talk about Tiger publicly because the Tiger people don't like anything. Just like don't talk about us. Just so he probably won't do it. But I'll text him in a break, see if we can grab him. But he said 5 years ago. I'm like, what?
And dude, we pay attention to stuff like that, right? Especially Tiger. Not that Tiger has played a ton in 5 years, but are you telling me in 2019 when he won the Masters, you were on his bag? Because I didn't see it.
I didn't see that. I gotta get. Well, maybe he misinterpreted me and said maybe they've been with Tiger for 5 years, but this is the first time I've seen his bag on Monster.
Yeah.
So
may have been a sponsor, but it wasn't a logoed sponsor anywhere.
Which, by the way, think about this: Monster Energy. You remember that Monster video the commercials you see all the time for Monster?
Yeah.
No, you don't, because they don't do commercials.
Yeah, they don't do TV or anything, right?
They don't. I was like, of course. I was like you, like, oh yeah, there's Monster spots, and I'm like, he goes, no, we don't do that. We just sponsor things and sponsor people.
Right.
We don't do actual commercials. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. But you see it everywhere. You see it everywhere.
Because I feel like maybe they don't do commercials, but they sponsor broadcasts and they will mention their names and show their logo on the screen. You know, today's whatever Monday Night Football brought to you locally by Monster Energy. You know, I feel like they do that maybe, and that's where I'm Nelson Mandela effect seeing all of that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think anyway, it just was interesting to see that. And Tiger, he chunks his first iron. I mean, his drives were great, as James says this morning. His drives were absolutely perfect, but his iron game abandoned him. Yeah, he chunked one at, I think it was at 14? Yeah, 14. He chunked, hit a great drive, and then just chunked it short. And when you're short at 14, you got no chance to get it up and down. So he bogeyed that one, bogeyed 18. The iron game, the chipping game was pretty good, but he just looked freaking miserable.
Yeah.
And he shot, made 2 bogeys on the way in. So now he's 1 over as he starts his second round, which I think, what time is this tee? It's got to be an early tee time, right? So it's got to be like.
I was just trying to look that up. Yeah. Cause I know they moved everything from where I saw it.
Yeah. I think he only has like an hour and a half to eat breakfast. To probably get some physical therapy, get some massages or whatever. I don't know what he's got to do to get going, but that's a shame, because you thought it was going to work out for Tiger starting going late early, or was that right? Yeah. So you thought it was going to work out for him, but it just didn't really work out with him.
Mother Nature is not a Tiger Woods fan, apparently.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. It was cold this morning. It was in the 50s.
Yeah,
so he was just freaking absolutely miserable. But, we'll watch him. I mean, the story of the day yesterday was Bryson DeChambeau coming off the Live Tour and shooting 65. Holy moly, 65. And Bryson has never really been good at Augusta. Mm-hmm. It's not been his favorite course. He loves it, loves the tradition of it, loves all of it. I found them, extremely bearable to watch yesterday and listen to, which has not always been the case with Bryson DeChambeau. So I just think getting rid of the stupid hat alone makes a huge difference. So, I can kind of root for him. Maybe.
You didn't like his hat that he used to wear?
The little chapeau,
whatever it's called. I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, it's with the. It just no Kangol. Is that what those are called?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah. I almost thought Kankles or something else on
beret. A beret. Anything with you have the soft T at the end. It's probably not going to be something that I.
Well, he is DeChambeau, so exactly. I mean, it makes sense, right?
He's very French. He's very French.
Yes, he's not French at all.
So Scotty Scheffler just goes out and just posts this most boring ass 66 you've ever seen in your life. I mean, think about that. Dude shoots 66 and you're like, yeah, it just doesn't miss. Solid play. I've come to love the humbleness of humility is the word. The humility of Scotty Scheffler. You could call it boring, you could call it whatever you want, but he's so intense out there. but he's such a good player. He just doesn't miss shots.
Yeah, and I've got my own thoughts on Scotty Scheffler. That is there. If you watch anybody that watches From the Rough with me and Johnny Mondays and Tuesdays here on FanStream Sports, they know my opinion of Scotty Scheffler, and it's not the best. I think he's boring. I think he's it's hard to watch him play golf. I think it's hard to root for him. And he's a Texas guy. He's an amazing dude, man. He's a great dude. Nothing against him personally. I just hate watching him play golf. And you know what? He's been a little bit better this year. Like I made the bold prediction before the season started back in January. Scotty Scheffler would not win a tournament this year.
What?
And I went 4 months and I was right. For 4 months, I was looking good.
Why would you say that? You're just a hater.
Because I didn't want him to. But you know what? Now that he's grown the beard, I'm coming off that a little bit. He's growing the beard. I think he's getting some coaching from somebody about how to just show a little bit of emotion on the course.
Yeah. Smile every now and then.
Right. He makes a big long putt or something. And he throws a little fist bump in there. Yeah. He never did that before. He would always just walk off.
Yeah.
Tip the hat, whatever, point at it, whatever, dude. It's like Phil Mickelson on steroids. I can't stand watching Phil Mickelson play golf. He drives me crazy. Well. And Scotty Scheffler was right there, man. He was joining Phil Mickelson territory for me. But I'm coming off it a little bit. Still not a fan. I mean, he's a Longhorn. I have to cheer against him and Spieth all the time. But, it is what it is. He's going to probably win it again this year. Good God.
Jordan blew up again.
As he's known to do.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with his game. He's just lost. He is just completely lost. They took a 9 at number 15 this morning. I mean, he is lost. You're like laughing at the Longhorns. He's lost. He's completely lost. And that's the problem with the PGA Tour now is you don't have many stars left. And the stars they have, like Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth, they're never in it anymore.
Yeah.
They're named and they're known, but they're just not in it anymore. It's incredible how fickle this game can be, how you can be so good and so dominant in this game at an early age. And then you get a few scars and they just turn into these huge mental impediments. I mean, clearly physically these guys can still do it, but mentally, you lose your confidence a little bit here and there. And man, that is the most fascinating thing I think about the golf, the sport of golf, is how incredibly mental it is. I mean, all these guys, and Tim, you've played with them. You played with Johnny Gerber, and Johnny's played with every, great player around. And I've played with some of these guys as well. And you see them hit the ball, and they never miss a shot. And you're like, how come you don't win every tournament? And these particular kids can't sniff it. Sniff it.
Yeah, I played against Justin Leonard in high school for 3 years.
I played with him in a pro-am
here in Dallas.
What a dick.
He was a dick back then, and he's a dick now. I tell you what. God, he was such a tool. But
such a tool.
But
this is back in my days when I was younger. This is probably about 12 years ago, and I was still hitting it 300. And he by the back nine, I was hitting it so far past him because, of course, he was playing from the pro teams.
Yeah.
We're playing 20, 30, 40 yards up, and I'm hitting it 300, and he's hitting it this little 250-yard cut. And I'm just blowing. I mean, like we're playing in the scramble, and he's hitting his second shot, and we're like, "All right, we'll be up here. See you later."
I love that.
And he was so mad. He was
so
pissy about it. I'm like, I didn't know why he was so pissy. And I was like talking to one of the PGA Tour officials. I was like, he's like, "How'd it go today?" I'm like, "How's it going?" I'm like, is he always this? He's always this much of a jerk? Like he hasn't said 3 words to anybody all day long. And he's like, "Yeah, that's him."
Yeah. And he's a terrible announcer too. I can't stand watching him on TV.
Yeah, why is he on TV? Like
stupid pasty hair and whatever that crap is on his head. I don't know.
Why is he a guy? I mean, of all the guys with great personality that could be out there talking golf, why is that guy? Why did he get a spot? I don't understand that at all.
It's just bad. But you know what? I got to take a little bit of exception to something you've been saying here the past couple of weeks.
Okay.
Maybe months. Maybe
Bring
months.
it, Red Bull boy.
Because it's never been on when I'm on the show with you. It's always when either Peter or Nick's on, when you're talking about golf and you talk about the lack of stars on the tour now, especially since the split. Since Live Golf and a bunch of guys went over there. And while I do agree, a lot of the guys that went to Live Golf were former PGA stars. I mean, there's no question.
Yeah.
I don't think that for the regular viewer of PGA Tour golf, there's not a lack of stars. There are certainly more new stars coming up than what we're used to seeing. But if you're just a casual viewer of golf and you don't recognize names like Wyndham Clark,
Austin
Eckroat, first-time winner this year. Dude, a lot of these guys are Nick Dunlap. There you go. Nick Taylor, Canadian's he's an up-and-coming star. Then I get it. Like, I get it. If you're just a casual, you watch 3 or 4 tournaments a year, and you know the guys that are up at the top all the time. You know your Spieths, you know your Rory, you know all these guys. I get it. But for the people like us, at least me that watches golf every single week, like I've watched some of these guys come up from the Korn Ferry Tour, and you knew these guys were going to be great. They just needed a shot, right? And so for me, there's not a lack of stars on the PGA Tour. There might be a lack of notable names, maybe that you're used to, that the normal public is used to seeing, but I don't think there's a lack of stars at all.
Well, here's the thing. Define stars.
Right. Does that mean you got a big name?
Does it mean, well, here's the thing. Are these guys uber talented? Of course they are. Yes, they are uber talented. And like I just said, any of these young players, even on the Korn Ferry Tour, you play with them and you're like, holy crap, I've never seen anybody hit a golf ball like that. We have one, Jackson Suber at Palmacia, my club. He's one of the top collegiate players now in Korn Ferry, top 30 in the Korn Ferry. He's played a couple of PGA Tour events. I mean, he goes around and shoots the club record, right? 59, I think he shot at Palmacia, and you watch him just bomb it, and you're like, how is this guy not on tour? Yeah. It doesn't make him a star. Doesn't make him a star. A star is a guy that's won tournaments, that is in the national conversation, that 80% of golf fans would know their name. And unfortunately, Tim, you're about top 5% of golf fans. I mean, you watch the Korn Ferry Tour. I don't even watch the Korn Ferry Tour unless Jackson's playing. So to me, a star is somebody that is recognizable, that's won not just one, but 2 or 3 tournaments. And I would submit to you that the Austin Eckrouts of the world, while great talented players, are not stars. They're just given an opportunity because the PGA Tour is so thin right now. So I see what you're saying. I think these guys are. I think you may be confusing talented with stars. To me, a star is somebody who's easily recognizable.
A recognizable name.
Eckrout is not easily recognizable by you. Yes, by me. Yeah, I know he won a tour. I know Dunlap won a tour as an amateur. I know these things. 85% of people, even golf fans, don't know these things. So when you look at a Sunday leaderboard and you see 2 names out of the 10, that's not good for the PGA Tour. That's my point. That's not good for the PGA Tour. For me, I know you certainly know who these guys are, but that's why when you have a final round at Arnold Palmer and Scotty Scheffler's blowing away the field because the field is not as deep as it used to be.
Right.
That's why he's winning by 6 shots. That's why he's winning back-to-back players, because Brooks Koepka ain't out there. Dustin Johnson ain't out there. And it's some of these guys you might say are past their prime, but they show up in the big spots.
Right.
Bryson DeChambeau ain't out there. Look at that leaderboard. There's a few of those live guys up there, and there will be on Sunday. So that's my point. And I don't think it's good for the tour. I don't think it's good. And then you look at like the Valspar, it certainly was a good field, but it's not the type of field that Valspar wants to pay $10 million a year for. Yeah. And their sponsorship is up after next year.
Yep.
So, Ronnie Barber's got a tough sell to go to these folks and say, hey, we need we need another $10 million a year investment, or whatever the number is. It's probably gone up from that. And they'll be like, well, can you, assure me that we can get 25 of the top 50? And he's like, nope, no, I can't. So it's a tough sell. And that's where the PGA Tour is. So they got to fix that. They got to fix it. It's just that simple.
No.
And this week is a perfect example of it. I'm watching this week and I'm like, oh, yeah, they're all here. I know these guys. Everybody's here. It's like, and it's just this way, and for golf, you better get on it, because, women's college basketball is coming for you. I got news for you.
Hell, women's amateur golf is coming for you, because
Yes.
that's almost more exciting now. If you watch the women's amateur
golf,
at
golf,
Augusta
the
last week.
LPGA. I know more
Yeah.
players on the LPGA leaderboard than I do on the PGA leaderboard, and frankly, I'd rather watch them play.
Yeah,
So I mean,
and this split it's not good for golf. I mean, there's no question it's not good for golf. It's hurting the game tremendously. I don't agree with it, but a lot of those guys that went over there, I'm still not sure why they did. I know they took the money, but if you watch, and I haven't watched any live golf. I refuse to watch it. I can't find it when it's on TV anyway, and not that I care to.
I've watched a little bit of it. It's a carnival. I just sit there and laugh.
Right.
I mean, just watching the guys playing shorts, number one.
Right.
I mean, it may be something stupid to you, but I'm like, it just doesn't seem right.
Doesn't look right.
And the music is blaring, and then I've got all these, on the left side of the screen, I've got the team score. I don't give a rat's ass about your team.
No.
And I think I just feel like you're just trying to shove that down my throat so I go buy some merchandise of the, the Dustin Johnson jerk-offs or whatever the hell their name is. I don't even know. I don't know. It's it's a carnival. It's a freaking carnival.
Awesome.
I'm like, I'm not interested.
I hate it so much.
I know. I'm just like, oh, what are we doing?
And you know what? Look at John Rahm now. John Rahm's been on the Live Tour for 4 months.
Yep.
He has yet to even come close to winning anything.
Yep.
And he's already bitching and moaning about the format. He wants to go to 72 holes. He says this 54-hole thing's for the birds.
Yeah.
We're not getting world golf ranking points. Well, you know what, John? You knew that before you went there.
That's
Maybe
right.
you should have thought about that before you signed your multi-$100 billion deal or whatever it was. Quit bitching about it and come back.
For a guy like John Rahm, and I love Rahm. I love his love for the game. It just made no sense.
Nope.
It made no sense. I'm like, bro, what are you? You've got more money than you could ever spend in your lifetime. I know, $350 million is a lot of money and it's hard to say no to. But your game is, you want to chase the majors and you get to play in the majors. I get it, but look at you. You shot 73. You think you're tournament ready? I know Bryson DeChambeau shot 65, but I'm just here to say he never felt comfortable in his own skin this week. You watch the interviews, you watch everything, and you're just like, this is not the same John Rahm. And as we said, how mentally fragile is this game? How mentally fragile? And you're here bitching about 72-hole tournaments when you should be worried about winning the Masters back to back is what you should be worried about. And it's a bad feel. It's a bad look. And again, like John Rahm, what are you doing? You will never be able to spend the money you can make in your life. And it's just numbers on a page that they're going to sit in a bank account somewhere. And, maybe you'll use it to buy a soccer club one day. I don't know. Will that make you fulfilled? The fact that you're completely irrelevant on the golf stage as the reigning Masters champion? Seriously?
I think Rick's right on the... Yeah. You two bitching about golf players sounds like two teens talking about Taylor Swift. Yeah, I get it. I get it, Rick.
Yeah, I'm just, and here's James says this. John Rahm's great grandkids are set.
Yeah,
yes.
They are.
What if the political and monetary situation stays the same? You think that's happening? Nope. Yeah. Nope. Nope. Probably they're just numbers on a page that anybody can take at any point if they really, really want to. So whatever.
And you really care about your great grandkids being set? I don't give a crap about my great grandkids, to be honest with you.
I've already told my kids, listen, I'm spending every penny I got.
Yeah, I'm not taking it with me here. You guys get nothing. I'll give you $50 for a cab ride home.
When you were a kid. So you got the foundation. Yeah. You got your private school. Go get them, kids. Go get them. I told
my kids I'm going to leave them $50 for an Uber home from my funeral, and that's the best you get.
If you knew when you were dying, like you knew like what year you were dying or whenever at the time, I'd be like planning it out. Like I'm going here. Yeah. How much money do I have left here? It'd be like the Monopoly game where you're like trying to figure out how much you can drain.
Oh my gosh!
You buy to as many houses and hotels as you possibly can. I'm like, whatever. I'm just no. But anyway. Good, but you're irrelevant in your sport.
Yep.
As the Masters champion, that's just bananas. All right, Rick, we'll stop bitching about
Taylor Swift.
Now let's bitch
funny.
about OJ.
Yeah, let's do that.
No, I know. Well, I want to get to some of the local. What time is it there? We spent 25 minutes talking.
9:25.
That's
or
okay.
10:25 your time.
That's okay. All right. So the Lightning last night, as I started the post game show, very honestly, as I tried to do, not being a homer, this was a game that meant very little to both teams, and the Lightning played like it. They were completely flat last night, completely listless, and unlike the Columbus game where they kind of rallied and at least started to execute, they didn't execute in the 5-on-3 that they had for over a minute, couldn't score. Then they had another minute plus in power play time, couldn't score on their number one ranked power play. So the power play was ineffective last night, which is weird. That all they needed was one more goal to win the game when it got to 2-2. Now, Kuch got a couple of his points last night and one on a fantastic assist to Braden Point. So he's at 141. McKinnon is at 137. Now they have an equal amount of games. McDavid he's got a lower body injury. I'm not sure how much he's going to play the rest of the way. So it's between these two, and we'll see. But the advantage that McKinnon has is he will play on Thursday, his final game next week, whereas Kucherov's last game is on a Wednesday against Toronto at home. So they'll have Washington on Saturday at Washington. And the Caps have got to win. They blew a game to the Sabres last night. You can't lose to the Sabres in this situation. You got to win every game.
Yeah.
So they did. They lost 4-2 last night. So the Lightning will come in there on Saturday and face a very, very desperate Washington team, or maybe not. I mean, the way a lot of these teams are playing, I think it's almost like they don't want to go to the playoffs. They just like, you know what? Golf sounds good right about now. Or do we really want to be the 8th seed and get our ass kicked by Florida or somebody else and get embarrassed? Now let's just call it a season right now. None of these teams except Pittsburgh actually seem to be trying. Of course, they traded Gensel. That seemed to have pissed off Sidney Crosby enough that he's going to will them into the playoffs. So they win in overtime last night over Detroit, who definitely needed to win as well. So Pittsburgh gets the win. They're now in the second wild card. The Lightning really are just playing for nothing. The most important thing they're playing for is health, and for Kuch to win the Art Ross. And he got a couple of points last night, but as I say, McKinnon will get that last. He'll have the last change, to put it in hockey terms, and he'll know how many points he needs, which is going to be interesting. So he's going to be heavily motivated, whatever it's going to be. So I think Kuch has probably got to score at least 4 points in the next 3 games, which, when you looking at what Kuch has done, you're like, oh, that's easy. It's not that easy. Yeah. It's not that easy, folks. It's just not that easy. So,
but it's possible.
Extremely possible. Yeah. I think he could probably, if he scores 6 more points, which again, averaging 2 points a game, crazy, right? Which about is what he's going to, he may end up with almost 2 points per game this year. He's at 141 now. If he gets to 146, I think he's got to have it. I think he's got to have it because that makes McKinnon, doing my math here, he's got to do what? So that's 9 more points in his last 3 games. Of course, he's throwing up 4 and 5 point games just like Kucherov is. So it's far from over, and it'll be very, very interesting to see what happens. And I know the Lightning players want it to happen. I think they also want it to happen. There's that seems to be and good because that will keep them motivated, right? And they should be playing and executing like you want them to do going into the playoffs. But I think this 11-1-2 run that they used to get into playoffs just it was exhausting. And so I just think this is a little bit of a human nature exhale. And now, got 3 games left. Let's get back to some good habits. Vasi will be back in net. By the way, Tompkins played last night because JoJo's been hurt. So they're our number 3 goalie, and he played fantastic.
Yeah, Brian Bradley broke that news on your show early in the morning, didn't he?
That's right. Yeah, he sure did. Breaking news with Brian Bradley at Amalie Arena now. This is twice he's done that. We broke that news, and Tompkins played. He got his first start at Amalie Arena. I thought he played tremendously well. He and they lost in a shootout, by the way, if I didn't mention that. 3-2 was the final in the shootout. 1-0 in the shootout. Tompkins let one in, and Kachuk scored it, the last one, and Tompkins couldn't stop. That was the winner, but he played really, really well. The Bolts gave up some 2-on-0s. I think they gave up a 2-on-0 shorthanded. Like how do you give up a 2-on-0
Those are crazy to watch. Yeah.
I'm like, what are we doing? And,
there's being out of position, and then there's being out of position.
That's really out of position. They just were like, they were so disinterested last night, and I get it. I'll tell you what, though, the Channel Club last night was popping. I was talking to a lot of the employees, and that's where we hang out that's where our studio is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy, it's so crowded in here tonight. It's just crazy people I've never seen before. Cause you get to season ticket holders mostly up there. So, all the faces, a lot of the faces, but it was a bunch of strange people. The bars were going crazy. Everything it was nutso last night. But nobody was even watching the game for the most part. People were just huddled around tables, drinking and eating. Like, yeah, good for you. Don't watch it.
It's my kind of party right there.
It's not worth it. Yeah, don't bother yourself with what's going on out there. Like the entire first period, I don't think there was one roar. Like until late when they got each team scored a goal, like in the last 5 minutes. But it was just so that was that last night. The Rays get back at it today as they take on the Giants, and the highlight of this series will be Blake Snell coming home and pitching at the Trop for the first time since the Rays let him go for next to nothing. And we're gonna celebrate that. Yeah. So that's your Rays update today, and that's about all you're gonna get on them, unless we talk some stadium.
Just wait for the playoffs. It's coming, man. The exciting hockey is coming once again. It's the end of the season. That's what we're dealing with here in Dallas with the Stars, who are trying to wrap up the President's Trophy.
They're playing well. Tell me about the Dallas Stars.
It just all seems so meaningless right now, and I don't even care about the President's Trophy. That was cool back in the, the 90s and whatever, but
it's a curse.
Used to be. Yeah, do you remember when it used to be a curse, right?
It still is a curse.
I mean, the Stars won in 99. They won the President's Trophy and the Cup in the same year. I think that was the first time or maybe second time that had happened since the 85 or 87, whenever they started it. But at this point, I'm just ready for playoff hockey. I don't care. I'm almost done watching games. The next day I'll look at the box scores, right? And I'll look at ice time. I'll look at goals. If something happened where DeBoer's shifting up lines for some reason, I want to know about that. Yeah. But now as we get closer and closer to the playoffs, that's all I really care about, man. Just keep everybody healthy. Try to keep some momentum going. The Stars are kind of like the Lightning. They're slumping a little bit here and there because it was such a strong push towards the end.
Disinterested, yeah.
Yeah, you want to win the division, or the Stars do, and they're in that position to do that. And again, I don't know, maybe players care about the President's Trophy or they don't. I don't know. I don't think they do.
I don't think they do.
That's a fan base thing, right?
Yeah, I think they care about staying healthy, number one. Yeah. And by the way, Tyler Mott went out last night, blocked the shot, took it off the ankle, like square off the ankle. They didn't say it was broken, and they would have taken an X-ray last night. So, but still, I'm not sure how long he's going to be out. And he's a playoff kind of player. He's huge on the penalty kill. You got to have him for that. Him and Luke Glendening, they serve a role in the playoffs, and you got to have them. So hopefully they did not lose Tyler Mott last night for any extended period of time for the playoffs. What's interesting is the Florida Panthers have now pulled within 1 point of the Boston Bruins. What's interesting about that is if the Panthers take first place, then the Lightning will play the Panthers.
Right.
And the Panthers have the tiebreaker because they've won 50 games. I think Boston's won 46. So the first tiebreaker is wins. So here's the question. Everybody says nobody wants to play the Tampa Bay Lightning in the first round, right? I don't think Boston wants to play the Lightning. I think they'd much rather play who would it be? Washington. The Panthers, the Panthers, who do they want to play? I don't know if they're scared of anybody, but
do they care?
But I don't think anybody wants to play the Lightning in the first round with Vasi being hot now and his team having won, going 11-1-2. Nobody wants to play the Lightning with Cooch and Stamkos on fire and Braden Point and Hedman and Vasi. Nobody wants to play them. So I'm wondering if the Panthers, are they going to play these final 2-3 games to overtake Boston? Do they want that first place?
And they'll never come out publicly and say we'd rather have so-and-so than so-and-so. You just don't, you don't do that. And you know what? Players may disagree on who they want to play. The team's not going to collectively all want to play the same team. So, you play the games to win, and however it finishes, and then you move forward and you prep for that team. I just, all this talk about, I'd rather play this team than this team, and everybody does it as a fan, right? We all do that. We do it in the NFL. We do it in basketball. We do it every sport that we watch. Just the players don't give a crap. The players just want to keep winning, stay healthy, and gain some momentum going into the playoffs.
Yeah, as Thomas Casper says, the Panturds really hate us bad, or bad history. Well, we've owned them in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think they want any part of the Tampa Bay Lightning. So we'll see. It'll be very interesting to see where these matchups go, who wins these last 3 games, what positions are which. I also thought it was interesting to note, we did this on the show last night, 7 of 8 teams will be the same in the playoffs in the Eastern Conference, which is odd.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And 13 looks like if it was to start today, 13 of the 16 overall teams would be the same. I think that's very odd for hockey, if I'm not mistaken. I mean,
usually get at least 50% turnover, right?
Yeah, in the NFL playoffs you do, and I think it's been pretty similar in hockey. So you're going to have a lot of the same names, the same people, the same teams. And I'm not saying that's good or bad, but I think it's just interesting that these same you're going to have a lot of familiar faces, and that's good for hockey. I mean, they're good for the fans. We'll see a lot of the stars out there. Especially if Pittsburgh gets in. I think that's going to be a very interesting story, the way Sidney Crosby is pushing. He had another 3 points last night. So, yeah, I think the playoffs are here, baby, and I am here for it. It's exciting. It's going to be one hell of a run. And I hope the Lightning, in the first round is going to be tough. I'd love to see them make a deep run, because I just think I don't want to say the rest of the league has forgotten about the Lightning, but I think they might be just sick of them.
Because they're always there.
Yeah, they're always there. Like one of these, they've been in the playoffs 7 straight years, and 10 out of 11, I think. 10 out of 11, 7 straight years.
2 cups to show for it.
2 cups and 2 cups and 4 finals.
4 finals, yeah.
In that run, I mean that's
pretty good.
That's dynastic. That's dynastic, but I think you got to get that 3rd one to be a dynasty.
Except for that one cup that y'all stole from the Stars. I didn't like that one.
No, that was a good one. Yeah, I thought you were going to give me the COVID Cup thing.
Oh, no, I don't care about that. Because it was from the Stars.
Well, that may be the toughest one. But, it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. All right, we'll take a quick break. We are presented by the great friends at Hydrate Heroes and the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES Scott Jeeves is going to stop by next week and untangle all this FSU lawsuit mess for us. But he can also work your accident case, work your insurance case. If you have a home insurance issue, whatever your legal issue may be, the Jeeves Law Group can handle it. So go to their website, JEEVESlawgroup.com. They are local, they are trusted, and they get results. Don't just go with some firm because you see lots of commercials on TV. You'll just be a number. Be a client that is important, and you'll get callbacks immediately. And that's the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVESlawgroup.com. Back at 3. Stay with us. JP here for my friends at your local Synovus Bank. And I do mean friends, and I do mean local. One of the local managers in Tampa is John Acosta, big fan of the show, and I've known him for over 40 years. He's been in local banking since 1983. You talk about developing relationships. You don't stick around for that long unless you're doing things the right way and have a great reputation. And that's the focus company-wide at Synovus. Big enough to handle any complex international transaction, but small enough to answer the phone when you have an urgent question about your business or personal account. And for personal accounts, they have a very easy app that works great. You can do everything online. And for large or small businesses, you will get that personal touch and services to help build your business, taking your dreams and aspirations from the whiteboard to reality. We can make that happen. Let us show you how. For a get acquainted meeting to open a business or personal account, just call John or go to synovus.com to find out where your local branch is. Everyone knows Italiano Insurance is your go-to for home insurance, but they also have an amazing team that focuses on business insurance. Yes, your business is most likely your biggest asset. So make sure you have the right coverage at the most competitive price. And if you started a side hustle recently, don't forget you need business insurance, because if you get sued in this over litigious society we live in, you could lose all your personal wealth. So get that business insurance. And for the best customer service, always choose Italiano. My representative Charity is amazing. I called her late on a Friday because my insurance was going to lapse. She stayed late until the job was done. You just don't find that anymore. Give them a call, 813-877-7799. That's 813-877-7799. Italiano Insurance. JP here for the Geddes Gordon Real Estate Group and our good friend Jane Geddes. Folks, simply put, there is nobody like Jane. Jane is a former LPGA two-time major championship winner. She was also vice president of talent relations at WWE. She also has a law degree from Stetson. So if Jane can drain a 10-footer to win the U.S. Open and stare down Hulk Hogan in the boardroom, you want Jane on your real estate team to not only negotiate the best deal, but find you the perfect home or investment property. And when you work with the Geddes Gordon Group, you become part of the real estate family and get concierge services that include expertly staging, marketing, and preparing your home for sale. Advice on golf properties. Hey, you might even get some golf tips. Many of their clients become friends long after the sale or purchase is completed. It's all part of the deal. So if you're looking for that perfect home or investment property or try to get top dollar for your home, go with Jane Geddes and the Geddes Gordon Group, because there's nobody like Jane. Call 813-485-6808 or go to geddesgordon.kw.com. That's GEDDES Gordon.kw.com. or call 813-485-6808.
With over 34 years of producing small and large events, Extravaganza Productions is truly a Tampa treasure when it comes to creating some of the very best events in Tampa and all across the United States. I've worked with them at the Florida Sports Hall of Fame inductions, the Warrior Games, which was an Olympic-sized event spread across all of Tampa Bay. They are the very best, from small meetings to exceptionally large corporate conferences to galas, fundraisers, sporting events, grand openings, whatever you want. Team EPI has an extremely talented staff of designers and show producers that develop extraordinary events fueled by the visions of their clients. You can reach them at their Tampa headquarters at 813-621-4700 or go to extravaganzaproductions.com.
Let's go. Right now. Back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, presented by the great folks at Hydrate Heroes. This watermelon elderberry combination they have is just really, really tasty. Only 5 calories, no sugar, no caffeine, no stimulants, none of that artificial stuff that makes you crazy. Just good stuff, potassium, zinc, amla fruit, very powerful antioxidant, all the really good stuff. Go to hydrateheroes.com. Get 30 servings for just $29.99 free shipping right now. Hydrateheroes.com.
It's probably better for you than Red Bull.
It's not probably. It's most definitely better for you than Red Bull. James is keeping us up to date on yes. Tiger, which is great. He almost what do you have, an 18-footer? No, that was the Jordan Spieth debacle at 15 where he chipped it in the water, which is not hard to do.
Oh, Spieth.
Where's the Tiger stuff? Oh, Tiger had an 18-footer on for a bird on one, missed it, but par's number one, and another perfect drive. Says he's got a little pep in his step. So
you know what's funny, JP, is I watched Jack tee off. The honorary starters yesterday.
Yeah,
which is always cool. Like always, like when they do that. And of course, Gary Player. Tom Kite. And so I saw a thing on Facebook this morning about a little behind the scenes video of him getting ready and hitting off the range before he went and did that. Yeah. And it shows him doing his little stretches, and kind of bending over, touching his toes. And he hit a couple of drives on the range, and he's like, all right, well, I got like one more. I'm saving that for the number one tee, So he goes out there and he's waving at everybody and just, kills the drive. It's like only Jack can.
Yeah.
And I was thinking to myself, like, Jack looks more limber and loose than Tiger does when he plays now. It was kind of crazy.
Yeah, Tiger's so stiff this morning. It was bad, but evidently he's warmed up a little bit, so that's good. And how about Gary Player? That dude, man, I've got to interview him a few times, and he will tell you how many sit-ups he does every day.
Yeah.
He used to do 500 sit-ups and 500 push-ups every single day. He'd do it on a plane when he was flying from South Africa, wherever he was flying to play golf. He would have a private plane and do that. And he's the original fitness guy. Like he was fit. He was fitness guy before Tiger.
Yeah.
He's just a little bitty dude.
Yep.
What he's accomplished in his career is really amazing. He's one of the greatest, I think, athletes, international superstars of all time. And he's still got great energy. I mean, he is an absolute, he is the infomercial for living a healthy life. He doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, doesn't, eats really, really healthy. And at age, what is he?
80? He's 88 now.
88 now? Just,
you wouldn't know it by watching him,
No, and you look at some of his compatriots, like Jack, who've probably not done that.
Yeah, who we know has not done that.
Yeah, but they've all lived a good life, so that's really, really good. All right, wanted to get into a little bit of draft stuff with the Buccaneers. Jason Light spoke yesterday at the annual pre-draft press conference, which is maybe the most useless thing ever, but we'll talk a little bit about it here because, what is he going to come out with his draft? Hey, I got my draft board mock 2.0, my mock draft 2.0 here.
You know why they do those? I'll tell you why they do those. Because they mean nothing in the grand scheme of football or the draft. They do that for people like me who need quotes so I can write about it. That's literally all it is. It's just full of quotes so I can write 10 pieces on who the Bucs are going to draft.
And I could talk about it today, and I can kind of, we can try to parse it and see if we learned anything.
Yeah.
But it's so funny. Like he says, there are some years you go to depend on them a little bit more, their draft picks, like we did last year. We're going to depend on this class too, Light says. I think every year the patience from the fans and from everybody gets a little bit thinner. They want players to become all pros by their second game. And it used to be that it would take 2 years. Yes, it does. But we also want the players to contribute right away. But I think every year you kind of approach it the same, that you're trying to get the right guys. Which, is their way of saying, we're going to take the best player available, which I think they will. And to me, that's where you want to be as an organization. You don't ever want to go into a draft where it's like, oh, we got to get a left tackle. We got to have an edge rusher. We got to have this. We got to have this, or we're just going to be, we got to get a quarterback. Like that's the worst thing. That's the worst place you can be. Because, and this is what happens with all these quarterbacks, they get completely overdrafted. You go back and look in history, and all these quarterbacks that have been, that they said were going to be great, they're going to be fantastic, can't miss, they miss. They miss a lot because it's a hard game to play, and only a few guys can do it really, really well. And there are guys, and then you go look at the top passers in the game, right, from last year. All right, start with Patrick Mahomes. He certainly wasn't a first overall pick. Right. A lot of people passed on Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, pretty high pick, Brock Purdy. I mean, Mr. Irrelevant. It's you talk about the Tom Brady's, you talk about the Russell Wilson's a third round pick, talk about a Baker Mayfield, who everybody gave up on, Kirk Cousins, a fourth or fifth round pick, right? Mm-hmm. Go right down the line of all the best passers in the league and where they ranked. And I think, who's the only number one overall pick in that group? I'd have to go back and look at it, but very few, very, very few. So they all get overdrafted, and that's just the nature of the beast. And speaking of quarterback, he had a quote on quarterback. Where is it right here? Whether they'll look closely at a quarterback position since they re-signed Mayfield and have Trask and John Wolford. Said, I would never say that we wouldn't take a quarterback because you could take one and be glad that you did at some point. Now, we like our room right now, but we will take a look at all of them, or we already have. That's a little bit top heavy this year, but there's always that instance if we like somebody and if we think he's better than the other positions of the board that we would consider. They ain't taking a quarterback. They signed Wolford. Trask is in the final year of his contract. And then when you look at a Kyle Trask, for instance, if Baker Mayfield were to go down, you'd think I'm crazy here, but you'd say, would you rather have a JJ McCarthy or a Kyle Trask? You want to win games? Kyle Trask. I mean, it's as simple as that. If Baker were to be out for 4 or 5 games, you'd have a much better chance of winning games with Kyle Trask than you would JJ McCarthy. Now that sounds crazy, but it's true because J.J. McCarthy hasn't played it down in the NFL. Now, neither has Kyle Trask, but he's been here for 4 years. Yep. I mean, Kyle's played some, but not much. but he's been here for 4 years. He knows how to be a pro. He's been learning this particular offense. He's already got a 3 month head start.
Right.
And Wolford's the same way. Wolford's played and thrown for 300 yards in a game. So there's these guys have a better chance of helping you this year than JJ. Obviously, JJ McCarthy has a much bigger upside. But what are you giving up to go up in the draft and get that guy? Two more first round picks. It's ridiculous. So the point being, they're not looking at a quarterback in the first round. They're not going to take Michael Penix at 26. They're not going to take Bo Nix. They're not going to take any of these guys because they feel like they're close right now. When you get, that close to an NFC championship game, as they did last year, you don't start over. You don't waste high draft picks. You have to build for the now. And they have, obviously two big needs. Now, if they don't get a starting center, could they go with the two guys that they got, Opeta and forgetting the other guy from the Giants? Yeah, those guys can play center and probably better than Robert Hainsey. But if they can get a Jackson Powers Johnson from Oregon, if they can get, if one of the edge rushers like Letu falls to them or Jared Verse falls to them, I mean, this would be the perfect scenario. That's what they're looking for. That's what would be fantastic. If one of those guys gets even close and you want to spend a 3rd round pick to jump up and trade up and get them, you go do it. But the point is they're drafting for now. They're going to add to what they have on this roster already. And they're trying to make this team better for the next few years. And that's where their head's at. So I don't see them. A lot of people have talked about wide receiver to replace Chris Godwin. No, Chris Godwin's under contract this year. And so is Mike Evans. I think it would be, would it be nice to add a Brian Thomas? Yeah, it would. But it would be better to add a starting center and a starting edge rusher. So I know that's more towards need, but in this draft, if you look at all the mocks, you got 6 quarterbacks going before the Bucs pick in a lot of these mock drafts. Fantastic. You got 5 offensive tackles going before the Bucs pick. Fantastic. We're not interested in any of those. I don't know if any running backs are going to go, but the more those guys get picked in front of the Bucs, the better it is because they're pushing edge rushers and interior linemen back towards them and some ones that are going to be really, really good players in this league. So this is what, when the draft comes to you, so to speak, right? When everybody else is taking players you don't need, and it comes to you when they're pushing good players that you do need back to you, that's what makes a great draft. And not just in the first round, but down the way as well. And that's where the Bucs are.
Yeah, and I think a lot of teams are there, though. And, it's interesting, of course, me covering the Ravens pretty specifically. Like I watch all of the John Harbaugh and Eric DeCosta press conferences. And Eric DeCosta addressed this earlier in the week when specifically asked about, are you drafting for need or are you drafting the best player? And, he came out and said, well, look, both kind of, right? Like you have to. He goes, if the best player available when we pick in the middle of their, at 24 in the first round is a quarterback, we've got a quarterback, we're probably not going to take a quarterback. So he goes, we're going to go with whatever we need at that point, which for them would be an offensive lineman, just like half the teams in the league right now. Thank goodness it's a deep draft, right?
Right.
For that position. But, it's, like we said, those press conferences are all just a bunch of horse hockey and just it's just for show, and it's a chance for those guys to get out and show their face and to have talking points like for people like me and you.
Which he did and did pretty well. But I think if I got anything out of the press conferences, like, yeah, they're not drafting a quarterback, and
right.
We know what they're looking for. I mean, if you cover your teams, you know what they're looking for, and we've got it all pretty much mapped out. And it's interior line, it's edge rusher. Yeah, they will draft a wide receiver. I think they'll draft a corner. If there's a defensive lineman there, they ain't going to pass on them. That looks good and can play well. So they may go look for an inside linebacker to replace Devin White for depth needs in the 4th round. But again, I think it's much easier if it's coming. It's not coming out of this incredible need. It's like, okay, we can take the best player, and I think that's where the Bucs are at, which is good. But I'm still excited to see what they can add to this team. My dream. Yeah, and
I was looking at cornerbacks because the Ravens need one. A lot of the Cowboys need one. Bucks need one. A lot of teams are looking at cornerbacks. I was trying to figure out how deep this draft is at corner. I've got 3 corners going in my first round.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you do a mock draft?
Yeah. So I've got the Toledo kid, Mitchell. There's going
run.
Yeah, dude. And then Arnold from Alabama and Nate Wiggins at Clemson. I think all 3 of those guys are going in the first round. Yeah,
I would agree. The Toledo kid, I can't believe he stayed there for that long, but
man, I know.
He can play.
He's still got another year of eligibility too.
Does he really?
Yeah.
He's smart enough to come out. That's
right. Right.
All right, we'll take another quick break. I want to come back and I got to get your take on the OJ Simpson thing, man. This is going to be fun. We'll do that. Hydrate Heroes will have their Hero of the Week at 11:30. We'll be doing that each and every week, honoring one of our military members, which is something near and dear to our hearts. So much more coming your way. We are brought to you by the great folks at Extravaganza Productions. Folks, you got a big meeting coming up. Do you have a charity event or maybe a big birthday? You got a 50th or a 40th or someone special that you want to do something special? Well, call Extravaganza Productions, and they can produce the whole thing for you. They can bring out some really, really cool props that no one would ever have even thought about, and you'll get a free creative meeting if you contact them through the website. Either email or call them and say, hey, we heard it on the JP Peterson show. I want to get that creative meeting. I want to tour the warehouse of all these props and come up with something really cool for this party. They'll be like, come on in. So go to their website, extravaganzaproductions.com, and check it out. Back in 3. Stay with us. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group and my man Scott Jeeves, who lives right here and has long been a highly respected member of our community. He's a proud sponsor of the Tampa Riverwalk. Jeeves Law Group is also a proud sponsor of our Grand Central District in St. Pete and has neighborhood events throughout the year. He has an office on Central Avenue in St. Pete and one on South Howard in Tampa. You can't get more local than that. So when you need an attorney, are you going to hire some huge firm that advertises all over the state or the one that supports your favorite sports show? It's the Jeeves Law Group. We're local, we're trusted, and we get results. For personal injury and personal attention, call us for a free case evaluation. That's 8889-JEEVES. That's 8889-JEEVES.
All right, this is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. True Body offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on True Body and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and zero downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com.
Did you know Steve Weintraub founded the Gold and Diamond Source over 40 years ago by selling gold-plated sand dollars? And to celebrate, the Gold and Diamond Source is selling gold sand dollar jewelry with the proceeds supporting Julie and Steve Weintraub's foundation, Hands Across the Bay. Yes, in 1984, Steve opened their first location, expanded to 9 stores as far as Atlanta, but now they've consolidated all that inventory under one roof, becoming one of the largest family-owned fine jewelry stores in the country. Julie, of course, joined forces with her husband 20 years ago, and they're going to celebrate by offering up to 40% off select jewelry items. Plus, with gold prices near all-time highs, it's the perfect time to trade in your broken or unworn pieces for something new and stunning. Unlock the value in your jewelry box today at the Gold and Diamond Source. It's always one place, and it's always a great place. The Gold and Diamond Source celebrating their 40th anniversary, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Give Chris Lugo a call over there and take care of your testosterone, your immune system, your nutrition, and your overall health. They do it the right way by attacking not just the symptoms, but the main roots of your problems and give you a personal plan that will help you out. It's Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. All right, I gotta get to this because as we mentioned yesterday, I thought Nick and I had a very interesting conversation about the O.J. Simpson story, his death yesterday. Because Nick came at it from a very youthful perspective. Of course, he never saw O.J. play, never knew O.J. as a commentator, never knew O.J. as the O.J. that we knew growing up, Tim. And
apparently Nick's never seen The Naked Gun either.
No, how is that even possible?
I don't know.
One of the greatest movies of all time. Yeah. And all the sequels that came after it.
OJ's greatest performance as an actor.
Yeah, I think without question. Without question. And those were numerous, by the way. He was in a lot of movies. Like, I was trying to think of a comp for O.J. Simpson right now, of a modern day comp. I would kind of want to say it. I don't want to say it because of what happened after, but I'm talking about the pre-murders, allegedly. Sure. Nate Burleson, who just got nominated for an Emmy, he hosts CBS This Morning, the news program. Is on NFL Network for many, many years. Still is on the football shows. I'd say that would be him, and he's fantastic. By the way,
not Michael Strahan.
Yeah, Strahan would be one too.
Yeah, because he's all over everything too. On Good Morning America, he does non-sport stuff.
Right? Yeah, both of those guys, and beloved, absolutely beloved. Super guys, really high character. Everybody loves them. Great football players, all that stuff. Can you imagine waking up tomorrow and going, Michael Strahan is in a Ford Bronco?
That's what it was like, man. Yeah. Breaking into the NBA Finals, by the way.
Yeah.
To give you this news, and I mean, everybody that's our age can remember exactly where you were when you first heard the news or you first saw it on TV. I was at a hotel room in Fort Worth with my lovely wife at the time and getting ready for a night out, and had the finals on in the hotel room, and then boom. And I said, well, we're not going out tonight. Better call room service.
You're going to watch a Bronco chase? Yeah, I am.
She had no idea who O.J. Simpson was or what was going
exactly.
on,
But can you imagine? Like, can you imagine that happening right now with one of those guys? And you're like, oh my god, or a Kurt Warner, or I mean, any of these guys that have played,
Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
God,
I mean, crazy. And then when the Bronco chase happened, all you were thinking was, oh my god, OJ's so distraught over the loss of Nicole that he's, he wants to kill himself, or he's, you never crossed your mind that he was the killer,
right?
Like at that point, you just
because
never
all they
crossed
were
your mind.
looking for him to question him, right? They just wanted to question him, and then he took off,
right?
At no point was I ever like, holy crap, he's running because he did it. Like nobody thought that.
No, and well, I think we started to think that because as the news came out. I'm trying to remember back, like when we first started hearing, like, okay, and somebody put this out the other day on our chat that I thought was interesting. He said you couldn't get away with it today because of the CCTV cameras would have caught him driving to and from the scene, probably leaving the scene, probably outside, everything. Cameras are everywhere. So but we didn't know. So we didn't know. We had to wait till all the evidence started coming out. And as I mentioned yesterday, I didn't really start thinking about, okay, he did it until I heard the 911 calls that were, from Nicole and some of the other ones, which, by the way, the jury, if I'm not mistaken, never heard.
Nope. Never put in as evidence.
And you texted me yesterday and said, I never thought he was guilty.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people out there are like, what?
I know. I get that all the time. And look, it's not like I'm passionate about it. I wasn't fighting for justice or anything, dude. And remember, when all this was going down, I was a 24, 25-year-old kid just breaking into radio and really didn't care if he did it or not, right? But he was one of my childhood heroes. So I'm going to paint him with this superhero brush, right? Like, and at the time, it was more of a, well, there's no way he did this. It's O.J. Simpson. It's impossible for him to do something like this. But then as the trial went on, as things were going on and other news was coming out, and make no mistake, we know way more about it now than we did back then. Like even in the trial, we were getting circumstantial evidence in the trial. Mark Furman was put on trial kind of underneath all of it as a racist.
Yeah.
He had personal motives against O.J. and all of this stuff that was coming out at the time. Again, to me as a 24, 25-year-old kid, I'm like, well, there's no way he did it. All this stuff was planted. It was circumstantial, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I was pretty, even at the time, that was an unpopular opinion, right? Because everybody was just on board with OJ did it.
Yeah.
And I never, ever thought that he did. And to be honest with you, I haven't thought about this in 20 years probably, and so it's not like I'm going to flip flop and say, well, no, it's obvious that he did, because I still don't think that it's obvious that he did.
I mean, evidence could it have been planted, that blood evidence? Absolutely. Absolutely. Does he have an alibi? No.
Nope. And you think somebody as famous as OJ would have an alibi, right? But no. So, did he do it? Probably. I've just never been convinced.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm an idiot for thinking that, and I'm still blind even at 53 years old now that, OJ's still my hero. But I don't know. That was my take on it at the time, and I've just sort of never done enough or cared enough to come off of it and care about it more. I never watched all the OJ miniseries things that they had, and I heard they were great. I just didn't want to relive all of that. I didn't want to see it all. I didn't want to be swayed. I just didn't care enough to watch it. My TV time is pretty short right now with everything that I do. So when I watch TV, I want it to be something I really want to watch. And because of that reason, I don't watch a lot of shows. I'm sports. I watch sports, and that's about it. So
well, you can go back and watch all the OJ stuff now. And I think a lot of people, and it's funny how the narrative, has changed over the years. But if you were there and you were watching the trial, like a lot of us did, and was there a reasonable doubt for what was presented to the jury? Absolutely, was a reasonable doubt. And as you mentioned, the LAPD and what was going at the time, and the Rodney King thing and all that stuff, I was pretty sure he was going to be acquitted. Like, everybody was watching when the verdict was read, and people lost their minds.
Oh
and,
my gosh!
And it was like, and I was like, I wasn't shocked by it. I wasn't shocked by it at all. Because if you understand, and somebody wrote a piece about it. It was like OJ, was the first person that ushered in this the woke culture. And I'm like, I don't know about that, but it was the first time where you said something was, I don't know the right words to put this, more racially tinged than you thought it would be. Like, a lot of people thought he got off because he was black, and that was the whole case that they made. And it was like, well, the reason they make that case is because the LAPD is corrupt.
Yeah,
it's corrupt.
One of the most corrupt organizations on the planet.
Yeah, and so it's like, look at it. Look at duh. If you want to cast a reasonable doubt, if you were the attorney, wouldn't you do that? And by the way, the reason they did it is because there's truth to it. By the way, now does that mean in this particular case he didn't do it? My personal opinion is he did. I think there's way too much circumstance, not even circumstantial, but evidence that points to him. But if, you ask me, is it possible for Mark Furman to have planted that blood evidence? Of course it's possible. It's a lot of different blood, a lot of different places, but it was. So it'll be interesting how this is rerun.
What's interesting to me is going back, and we look back now, obviously it was all racially charged, and the race was the biggest issue around, other than the actual crime itself. The race was a big issue about why he might get off. But the way I remember it, I might be remembering it wrong at this point. I remember hearing more talk about, well, he's probably going to get off because he's rich. It was more of because he's got all the money in the world to pay for. Look at who his attorneys were. Mm-hmm. Good God, this was the start of the Kardashians, right? They weren't even born yet.
Yes.
With Robert Kardashian and F. Lee
Bailey. Who was the Johnny Cochran?
Johnny Cochran. Oh my gosh. All these guys became celebrities. And I will tell you what, there was something kind of good that came out of this whole OJ trial, at least within my household. So watching the trials at the time, I might have developed a little crush on one Marcia Clark.
Did you?
I don't know why. Yeah, like looking back, I'm like, dude, what was
as did Charles Darden. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. He sure did. Yeah. But I remember thinking, man, she's kind of lawyer hot, right? Like, man. And so she had this specific haircut. You'll have to go back and look at what it was. I remember talking to my wife.
Well, remember she changed her hair in the middle of the trial, and it was
everyone lost their mind. Yeah. It was like if Dorothy Hamill changed her haircut, or like when Rachel on Friends changed her hair or something. It was so ridiculous. But I talked to my wife at the time into getting her hair done like Marcia Clark.
Oh my God.
And she didn't know why. God. She was like, why do you want me to have my hair? I'm like, just please do it. And she did.
I knew the confessions would come out sooner or later. Absolutely.
I'm an open book, man. I'm an open book.
All right, so I got to get to a couple of other stories. So, I don't even want to say this, but it's true. Tom Brady was asked yesterday on a podcast if he may be having some second thoughts. And an appearance on Deep Cut podcast released on Thursday, Brady was asked by host Vic Blends whether he would pick up the phone if the team called him in the event of an injury. Quote, "I'm not opposed to it."
I was really hoping you were going to get to this today.
I don't know if they're going to let me. I'll become an owner if I become an owner of an NFL team, but I'm always going to be in good shape. I'm always going to be able to throw the ball. So to come in for a little bit like MJ coming back, I don't know if they would let me, but I wouldn't be opposed to it. He talked about the 49ers or the Patriots or the Raiders. If somebody was injured, he might want to come back.
I guarantee you his phone has already rung based on those comments. I guarantee you somebody has already called him.
But he can't, we saw this. Yes, you can throw the football, Tom, but you can't take a hit and you won't take a hit. Even in this flag football NFL, you can't play football like that. I mean, there are some points of the season when, guys like, throw out a name, guys have you never heard of are getting starts. Would Tom Brady be better? Yeah, sure, I guess, for a couple of games.
Right.
But man, what are we doing here? Is this really what you want to do at age? And by the way, isn't he supposed to be working at Fox Sports this summer?
Yeah, this upcoming season, yeah.
And he's supposed to be working there now to get prep for it.
Right.
I mean, he's going to be on the number one team. You just can't in the middle. Hey, you know what, guys? The Raiders called this week, so I'm out the rest of the year. I'm going to play. You're getting paid $350 million contract. You can't do that, right? Isn't there something in the contract that says, once you commit, you gotta kind of commit?
Right.
Or is there something in the contract that says he can leave it could be because you know what? If you're Fox Sports, you're going to pay him $350 million. And he says, look, what if somebody calls and I want to go play? They'd probably say, well, we don't want that. But then he said, well, I'm not going to sign it. Then they go, okay, all right, we'll put that in there.
You know what I think? This is going to be a dumb sports opinion, but you know what I think? Tom Brady owns every freaking quarterback record that you can possibly have, right? Just a lot of it's due to longevity and a lot of it's due to just pure talent, right?
Right.
You know what record he doesn't hold? The oldest quarterback in NFL history.
That's still George Blanda?
George Blanda retired at the age of 48.
Yeah, but he was also a kicker.
He was a kicker too, but he was playing quarterback, though, when he retired. So, I don't know, man. You think that's in the back of his mind? Like, man, I got 2 more years in me and I can beat Blanda.
No, I think it's just simply an insatiable desire to compete.
Sure.
I just think that's what made Brady great. And he still thinks he can do it at age 46. And to some degree he can, but it's not going to be at the level that it needs to be. Right. I mean, if you're Tom Brady and you're not coming back to win a Super Bowl, what are you doing? I mean, I guess if you love the game that much and you just want to go play, I mean, I love golf. I want to go play golf, right? I'm allowed to go play golf. I go play golf. If you can throw a football, here I still miss playing flag football. I love throwing a football and someone catching it, and just like the whole feeling of
at any level, yeah.
At any level, I love getting that baseball out and throwing the baseball and popping them in. It feels good. It's a nostalgic thing for me. I mean, and Brady can still do it at a very high level. There's no question if you don't hit him. But as soon as he gets hit, the whole game changes. We saw this.
Yeah,
we saw this. He can't move. He's not going to get hit. He's going to throw the ball away before you get to him if he can, but you're out there on the field. You're going to get hit. You're going to get hit. And chances are he's probably, he's going to get injured like he was. He's been injured many times, but he plays through it, which is exemplary, obviously. But I don't know. I can't. I don't think it's a great idea.
So what do you think he misses more? And there's no question he misses the competitiveness, right? He misses competing. Guys like that are wired different, right?
Giselle?
Him, Jordan, Tiger, Giselle, right? No, he probably doesn't miss Giselle, dude. I guarantee you, he's doing fine. But
a whole season crying about it.
That's true. Do you think he misses being in the competitive atmosphere, or maybe does he miss being in the spotlight and being talked about and his name being on every paper every single day? Because he hasn't had that since he retired. He's tried with certain things, but I think people miss that too, man. People like him, they want to feel important. They want to feel relevant. And when he was for that long at that level, for it to just go away.
But he's going to be the number one guy on Fox.
It's not
everywhere,
man.
But everywhere he goes, he's a superstar. It's not like he may not be on your TV every single day like he used to be, but in his life, as soon as he leaves the house, he's a superstar. I mean, right. Everywhere he goes, everybody. So I don't know how much has his life really changed. Now, I would lean towards the other thing about being in the locker room, being with the guys. That's what he talks about all the time, and the pure competition of it. I think that's the thing that I can relate to on a mini scale. I mean, what's inside me. I played sports for so long on every level. On a lower level. But every sport, and even going out there, you get in a tennis match, you get in a golf match, I do anything competitive. It just gets your adrenaline going. That's a rush. That's something your body craves, right? You would crave whatever your adrenaline rush is. You crave it. For me, it was always competition. Now it's not. I don't do it nearly as this, but even 20 years ago, I mean, it was like, oh, I want to go play softball. I had a softball game. I was excited. You had a big golf match, a big tournament coming up. You're excited. The competition, pick up basketball. You're talking about pick up basketball. You get into a really good game with a bunch of guys that are talking trash. Man, your adrenaline is just going. That's probably tenfold for Tom Brady. That's a physical need, right? That's
like a drug. Yeah,
it's like a drug, right? So I think that's what he misses. I think that's what he misses a lot, and I can't blame him. And if he wants to go do it, God bless you. It's just, I don't know. It just seems at some point, isn't it, from a fan's perspective, let somebody else do this. And we're going to be disappointed in the results too.
Well,
his last season here was bad, man. It was bad. Watching that whole thing, he was terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible.
I know.
Yeah. I personally, I don't want to see it, but I've always said I don't think he's getting in the booth. I just don't think he's getting in the booth. No, because the great ones never have, right? For the most part. I mean, I wouldn't say all the great ones, but Peyton Manning's not in the booth.
Not really, no.
Not really. I mean, he's doing his thing on the side, but not really. It's just, I don't know. It's almost like it's beneath them,
I mean, and you look at the great quarterbacks that tried to be booth guys. Yeah, I think Don Meredith, not that he's one of the great quarterbacks, but of course here in Dallas, very well, but he did it very well.
Yeah.
But in a very specific setting, right, with Howard Cosell and Frank Gifford.
He was more of a personality than anything else. He was bigger as a commentator than he was as a player.
Probably so, yeah.
Yeah, no question.
But guys like from our era, Bart Starr tried to go into the booth after he retired and failed, just like he did at coaching. Roger Staubach tried to go into the booth for a little bit, a couple of years, could not do it. Joe Namath was never really good as a broadcaster because he's probably drunk all the time. I mean, I would be too. Nope, nothing against that, but and
I just want to kiss you.
I want to kiss you. I do have this that I'd prepared for you, but I couldn't ever really find a place to play it.
Struggling.
And look, for Tom Brady, do you want to be the greatest quarterback ever who retired as the greatest quarterback ever, or do you want to be the greatest quarterback ever who held on too long and made yourself look silly?
Yeah.
Okay. And there's examples of this. Johnny Unitas played way too long. Joe Namath played way too long. Fran Tarkenton played way too long. And then you got the examples of the other guys. Again, I'll bring them up. Roger Staubach retired kind of in his prime, right? Because of concussion issues. Troy Aikman, way past his prime when he retired, but he was still kind of there, right? Montana, Steve Young, all these guys kind of retired with us still thinking that they've got something.
Yep.
Tom Brady comes back. He already did what he did his final year in Tampa Bay, which was miserable.
It was terrible.
Peyton Manning, you think he held on a little bit too long. His was due to injuries and stuff.
Most definitely.
But
most definitely.
Do you want to be Tom Brady, guy who's the greatest ever, or do you want to be Tom Brady? Man, he was really, really good, but He did try to do it too long. I mean, or does he care? He probably doesn't care.
He probably doesn't care. He just wants to play. So, good for him. Yeah. I don't want to see it again because we already saw it in my mind. But if he wants to play, so somebody wants him to play, so be it. It'd be kind of cool to watch. I mean, in kind of a train wreck kind of way.
Sure, right? I mean, we'll all tune in, right? We'll all watch.
Are you a little surprised that the new Kentucky head coach is Mark Pope?
Very.
I mean, Mark Pope.
Like,
you couldn't get Bruce Pearl?
Did he want it?
You couldn't get? Well, I would think maybe he didn't.
I'm not sure that job carries the same luster that it had after 15 years under that.
It's Kentucky, bro. Come on.
I get it.
Big Blue Nation. Money.
All the money, right? All the money. All the money.
I think I just think it's interesting. Yeah, clearly, I mean, they would have wanted Bruce Pearl over Mark Pope, right?
You would think.
Oh.
Unless there's something else going on we don't know about.
Well, maybe, they look at it and say, Big Blue Nation is part of the problem. You don't want to be under that much pressure. I mean, Bruce Pearl can stay at Auburn, has great facilities, can recruit great players, and same with Nate Oates. And it's like, but I'm in the SEC. I'm good here. Why do I need all that headache of Big Blue Nation up my ass?
Yeah.
All the expectations. Even if you win 3 national championships, it's going to be okay. That's why we hired you. It's never going to be enough.
Yeah.
So, maybe they're smart to stay away. All right, let's take another break. We'll come back and we'll get into a couple other things, a little bit more on the Rays. Your boy Rashid Rice, who you were racing with on those Dallas freeways, surrendered to police. We'll
finally,
get into that. We'll have a Tiger update at the Masters as well, and we will celebrate our Hydrate Heroes Hero of the Week. So all that and more coming up, brought to you by the great folks at Hydrate Heroes right here. I'm getting my hydration on with all the 8 times the benefits in this thing with all the good stuff. I did not drink 4 Red Bulls like Timmy did this morning. I'm
empty,
hydrated.
and I got to make a store run during the break.
Jesus. Back in 3.
Hey, it's a great time to buy a house and get a mortgage with American Mortgage Services. Okay, I got your attention now. But JP, rates are at 8%. That's true. But I spoke with our friend Scott Fitzgerald at AMS Tampa, and this is what smart people are doing. Rates peaked at 8% last month, but they've come down, and AMS recently locked some folks in the high 6s. Prices have also stabilized or dropped in some areas. So if you're going to eventually buy, now is the best time to get the house you want. Fitz will get you the best rate out there, shopping it around to dozens of lenders. And when rates come down in a year or so and the frenzy begins again, prices go bananas again, you will already have the pick of the litter. Then he will refinance you and keep costs at nearly 0 because that's what they do at AMS Tampa. You're back at 4% in the house you wanted while others fight the frenzy. Be smart. Stay one step ahead. Email Fitz at scott@amstampa.com, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. Scott Fitzgerald, NMLS 386722, American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashley Drive, Suite 1020, Tampa, Florida.
All right, this is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. True Body offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on True Body and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and 0 downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com.
Everyone knows Italiano Insurance is your go-to for home insurance, but they also have an amazing team that focuses on business insurance. Yes, your business is most likely
your biggest asset. So make sure you have the right coverage at the most competitive price. And if you started a side hustle recently, don't forget you need business insurance, because if you get sued in this over litigious society we live in, you could lose all your personal wealth. So get that business insurance. And for the best customer service, always choose Italiano. My representative, Charity, is amazing. I called her late on a Friday because my insurance was going to lapse. She stayed late until the job was done. You just don't find that anymore. Give them a call, 813-877-7799. That's 813-877-7799. Italiano Insurance.
JP here for Extravaganza Productions. You know, I've worked with these pros on so many big and small events. They recently did the Kappa Alpha Psi Grand Reunion, the Tampa RV Show Exhibit. They did the Skills Center opening of Tampa Bay. They can do those small events. They do the biggest of events. So if you are thinking about planning a meeting or special event, call the talented staff at Team EPI. They will give you a free creative meeting if you mention the JP Peterson Show. They will provide you with an exceptional experience. Heck, they'll even show you their huge warehouse with great props. Anything you want. They'll do it on time and on budget. You can reach them at their Tampa headquarters at 813-621-4700 or go to extravaganzaproductions.com. Tell them JP sent you.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at the Geddes Gordon Real Estate Group. If you are interested in buying some properties, and now might be a pretty good time to do it, folks. Some of those interest rates are coming down, and there's a little bit more inventory out there. Find out what is available if you're interested. The GeddesGordonGroup.com. Go see Jane Geddes. Please tell them JP sent you. Tiger Woods holding it even through three. I guess he must have birdied three. So he's tied for 27th. Not too bad for
we got James giving us all the play-by-play here in the comment section, man. By the way, Max Homa's my guy.
Yeah, he just birdied three as well. He's at 7 under through 4 in his second round to now tie Bryson DeChambeau.
Yeah.
So Bryson's going off at 11:54. Scheffler at 6 under is going off at 1:48.
Nice. Yeah, Maxie and I have a good back and forth on Twitter all the time.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah, we're buddies apparently.
I did not know that.
He's a fan of the show. Yeah, our golf show. So.
Oh, awesome! That's fantastic. I did not know that.
Yeah, he's funny.
Trying to see what did James? What did he say? Par 3, fourth hole, Augusta playing 265 with the wind. Oh, that'll be interesting today. That'll be interesting. Tiger birdies the par 3 third. So, all right. That's very, he apparently is loosened up now and he's ready to go. So that's good. Hey, you know what we didn't talk about is the Shohei Ohtani indictment that came down yesterday. So this dude,
he was worse than we thought, right?
So are we supposed to believe that he gambled over $120 or $116 million? He gambled. His net losses were like $40 million, and he owes Shohei $16 million. How in the hell is
supposedly Shohei didn't know?
How is a bank going to allow you? You're going to get on the phone in perfect English and talk to the bank when everybody knows Shohei doesn't speak perfect English. This whole thing smells like a humongous cover up. Are you believing any of this?
Well, I didn't believe it from the weird press conference they had to kick all of this off with his new translator, when his translator was constantly questioning him during you really want me to say that? And he did. So I didn't believe any of it from the get-go, man. Ohtani is so far invested in this, and
right?
It's ridiculous.
I was listening to a lot of shows yesterday on my drive, and there's a lot of people were like, "Oh no, this sounds right to me." I mean, I know you got a lot of money. How can somebody take $16 million of your money and you not know?
Doesn't happen.
Come on.
Does not happen. And I guarantee you, Major League Baseball is doing everything they can possibly do to avoid a huge scandal like this, because that's the last thing it needs.
Let's just go back to the beginning, where he holds a 90-minute interview with ESPN investigators, the translator.
Yeah.
And then the attorneys rush in and say, none of that's true. And by the way, the whole time this is going down, there's video of Shohei and his interpreter like right next to each other, and they're not mad at each other. They're not any of this. You think if someone stole $16 million of your money, you found that out, you would be a little bit pissed?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think even if you got as much money as Ohtani,
$6 million is still $16 million.
And by the way, this is a plea deal. So we don't, I haven't heard what up to 30 years in jail. He ain't doing 30 years in jail. He ain't doing 30 days in jail. This sounds, and the FBI is all over this, right?
Yep.
So the credibility is immediately in question.
Yeah, it's all out.
So, and there's no victim here. There's no victim here. So nobody really cares, except for the fact that I'm not believing any of this. I'm not believing one stitch of it.
No.
Now, they say that he didn't bet on baseball, which is fine. But this dude made over
that.
Yeah, that I believe because,
right.
Well, no, I don't. I don't believe any of it. I don't believe any of it, to be honest with you. There's, I don't believe any of it because all the people involved have a vested interest in Shohei not being involved and not betting on baseball. So yeah, unless you show me all the betting sheets, which they did in the Pete Rose case, they showed us everything.
Yep.
With his handwriting and everything, right? Why don't we get the same thing with Shohei? Let's see all the betting sheets.
Love to see it.
Why don't we just make it all public like you did in the other investigation, baseball? And boy, this thing went quick, didn't it?
Oh my gosh.
Scapegoat. All right, let's go. You come over here. You sign this. You take care of this. You take care. Everybody's happy. Everybody's happy. I don't believe a stitch of it.
Nope.
None of it. All right, a couple other things I wanted to get to. The USF Bulls will have their spring game tomorrow. It is sold out at Corbett Stadium. Nice article in the Times today about their new offensive line and what Alex Golish went through to get all these kids. They've got some really good transfers from other schools that have come in and done a hell of a job, and that's where they were really, really lacking. So the offensive and defensive line, Golish did a great job of getting transfers in. They've got even more now. Another great transfer class has come in. So USF is charged up and ready to go in football. It was a great season last year. They beat the hell out of Syracuse in the bowl game, and now even their stadium is going to be under construction in the next couple of months. The football facilities are going to be ready to go next year at some point, or no, 2026 at some point. The stadium is going to be ready for play in 2027. And we still only have a shovel in the ground for our baseball stadium. I mean, it's unbelievable, but congrats to USF that they were able to get all of this done. See, folks, it's not that hard to build a stadium. When
you don't even have the ground yet for your stadium, technically, right? Like
when you have willing people and people that are dealing in good faith, it's easy to get it done. When you have Stu Sternberg, it's impossible to get it done because he wants everything his way, his money, fill his pockets, which is what St. Pete is doing. Yeah. So that's why it hasn't been done yet. And it probably won't get voted on in the affirmative in this case, but we'll see. But congrats to USF. Great to see all that moving forward. Their spring game is tomorrow. Going to be fantastic. UF spring game tomorrow, I believe as well. So we'll get we'll do a full breakdown on that next week, and get the skinny. I've heard for a couple of my friends up at FSU, some of the transfers that they got in, specifically Marvin Jones Jr.
Yep,
Shade Tree's son has just been a wrecking machine, and some of these transfers, once again, Mike Norvell knows how to hit on these cats. He knows how to hit on these cats. So really, really interested to see what the Noles will be looking like. They've got a ton more speed in the wide receiver category, the running back category. So their spring game is next week, next Saturday. So we'll start being able to get some of these spring games and scouting them out. But in practice, Marvin Jones Jr. has been an absolute terror. So they had Jared Johnson that they brought in. Then they had Jared Verst, and now they're going to have another edge rusher, premium edge rusher in Marvin Jones Jr. So that's pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to get our good friend Michael Gardner on, and he's going to introduce us to this week's Hydrate Hero from our military. Can't wait for that. So stay with us. Quick break. Back in 3. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group and my man, Scott Jeeves. If you're going to hire an attorney, do you want some guy looking for a quick settlement and a quick buck, or do you want an attorney with some chops? Scott is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator. Been practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. He is a peer-reviewed AV preeminent rated civil trial lawyer. They just don't hand out those classifications. He's been the lead class action counsel on many complex consumer protection cases and has handled hundreds of serious personal injury cases. He's dedicated his career to protecting injured victims and is committed to vigorously representing you. We're local, we're trusted, and we get results. Personal injury and personal attention. Call for a free case evaluation. That's 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. The Jeeves Law Group. JP here for the Geddes Gordon Real Estate Group and our good friend Jane Geddes. Folks, simply put, there is nobody like Jane. Jane is a former LPGA two-time major championship winner. She was also vice president of talent relations at WWE. She also has a law degree from Stetson. So if Jane can drain a 10-footer to win the U.S. Open and stare down Hulk Hogan in the boardroom, you want Jane on your real estate team to not only negotiate the best deal, but find you the perfect home or investment property. And when you work with the Geddes Gordon Group, you become part of the real estate family and get concierge services that include expertly staging, marketing, and preparing your home for sale. Advice on golf properties. Hey, you might even get some golf tips. Many of their clients become friends long after the sale or purchase is completed. It's all part of the deal. So if you're looking for that perfect home or investment property or trying to get top dollar for your home, go with Jane Geddes and the Geddes Gordon Group because there's nobody like Jane. Call 813-485-6808 or go to geddesgordon.kw.com. That's GEDDES Gordon.kw.com or call 813-485-6808. Everyone knows Italiano Insurance is your go-to for home insurance, but they also have an amazing team that focuses on business insurance. Yes, your business is most likely your biggest asset, so make sure you have the right coverage at the most competitive price. And if you started a side hustle recently, don't forget you need business insurance because if you get sued in this over-litigious society we live in, you could lose all your personal wealth. So get that business insurance. And for the best customer service, always choose Italiano. My representative, Charity, is amazing. I called her late on a Friday because my insurance was going to lapse. She stayed late until the job was done. You just don't find that anymore. Give them a call, 813-877-7799. That's 813-877-7799. Italiano Insurance.
Let's go. Right now. Back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to a Friday edition of the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799. Go ahead and shop that insurance around, folks. And there was an article today in the paper about unscrupulous companies that are doing homeowners insurance. The Italiano Insurance folks does not do business with those companies. They vet the companies that they are going to put you with. So that's another great thing about and great customer service you get from Italiano Insurance. They're not just going to give you a company because the price is right. They're going to make sure these are companies that will pay off when you need them to pay off. So again, 813-877-7799. Don't try and do this yourself. Go to the pros at Italiano Insurance. Get the best price and companies that will actually do what they say they're going to do. That's important. That's important. All right. Speaking of those type of companies, let's welcome in our good friend Michael Gardner, CEO of Hydrate Heroes, our new presenting sponsor. What's up, Michael? How are you? Good. I like the background there. It's absolutely fantastic. Rock star.
I'm trying to upgrade, man. Be like you.
All right, good. Well, we're gonna get you a better mic for your next appearance too. Yeah. But we can hear you. We can hear you. So we're excited about this part of the sponsorship, my friend, because obviously you send 15% of your sales to military charities. It's near and dear to your heart, and we love that because it's here with MacDill, where we were a couple weeks ago. Mm-hmm. You know, it's a great military community here in the Tampa Bay area, so we really appreciate what you're doing with the military.
Yeah, no, thanks a lot. And I think, that's one of the things that has gone overlooked for so long. Our heroes, our true heroes, the people that put their life, whether it's police, fire, our first responders, but also, just our military. And so when we started this whole cause marketing with Hydrate Heroes, the one thing that was very important to myself and my partners was to get back to the military. make a positive impact in communities. And when you and I connected, it was like the perfect fit. Like, again, what you're about, what you stand for, and just making a positive impact in the community and using this platform to really bring awareness to our heroes. And that's what we want to do today. There's so many good people out there making a positive impact in our military. And I met this person, who's going to be on just an amazing story. Definitely in for a treat. But the fact of the matter is, when you and I started collaborating and what we were doing with the military, it's like, man, let's do a weekly segment and highlight a hero each week.
Yep.
And that's where we're at today. So we manifested that.
I love that. You got your shirt on. That's fantastic.
Yeah,
all right, intro our hero for the week. Tell us all about her.
Man, I won't do it justice first and foremost, but she's got a very unique story, and I mean, true inspiration. When you look at someone that's an immigrant, came into this country, there she is.
There she is.
She didn't pay me to say all this, but when I first met her, it was just something about her. And the more I got to know her with her story and her passion, and she's going to share it with you. But the fact of the matter is, she's been in the military 21 years, and she started out with us, believed in what we were doing, our mission, giving back to the military, making a positive impact. And again, when you look at dehydration, like, it's amazing. When you look at chronic dehydration in the military, it's one of the leading causes of casualties in the military, which I
did not know that.
No, it's amazing. And again, 75% of our population is dehydrated. So focusing not just on the military, but just overall health, it's really something that, it's very important. I mean, when you look at these kids drinking all, and first off, Tim, I've got a bone to pick with you, man.
I knew you would.
I saw that BS. You're in there. You're not even going to say what that product was, but JP, we got some work to do over there. Like, you got
to email. You got to send them the shipment you sent me, man. I drink. I've had 4 of these this morning, so we got to get him on the right track.
I'm like, we don't even. Yeah, there you go. But in all seriousness, I'm not about bashing another product or anything like that. There is a place for certain things. I think when you look at who we are and what we stand for, we are beverage with benefits.
Yes.
Hydrate Heroes, 8 times the benefit with hydration. And when you look at hydration, I mean, it's something, everyone needs it daily. It's not good before your workout, after your workout. It's every day. I mean, your kidney function, your organ function, your mental clarity. And Diana, I don't want to. I don't.
Well, you got to introduce her first, Michael. You got to. She's been this beautiful lady's been sitting on our screen here for 5 minutes. You keep talking. Can you introduce her and tell her who she is?
I'm going to do it right now. So here is our Hydrate Warrior, Diana Vega.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, Diana. Welcome to the show.
JP, real quick. She's nervous. She doesn't do this for a living. So
she doesn't seem nervous.
I said, man, you're in good hands. We'll take care of you. But again, here's a military veteran, 21 years, and can we announce it today?
Yes.
Is it official? She just retired from the military and is full-time with Hydrate Heroes.
Awesome.
Wow.
All right, Diana. Moving into civilian life.
Yes.
How does it feel to be in the civilian life again?
Coming out, I've been in the military again, for 21 years. So I'm like a little nervous, I guess I would say, because I'm like, hey, now I have to be an actual civilian, and I'm not sure how to be one after 21 years. But my time in the military was amazing. I've learned so much of myself and how much I'm able to do just with the way that you think. Like, your thoughts lead your path. If you, like everybody, said, hey, you're too small. Now you're just a girl. You're this, you're that. And like, if I allow those thoughts to drive me, then I wouldn't have been anywhere. I think that the Army puts you in a position where you have to believe in yourself. You have to have that drive and that determination to succeed. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's one of the major things that I learned from the military, to not back down or let any of my fears get in the way, because we all have those fears and insecurities telling you, hey, you're too small, you're too this, you're too that. But if you allow those fears to control you and not just take the leap, then you will stay stagnant and you will never live a life that when you look back, you'll be proud of. And you're like, hey, I did that. I jumped out of that plane. I did, shot that rifle. I did do those 12 miles, I did graduate, even though everybody told me that I wouldn't. So and it's something that you can look back and say, hey, you know what? I did something with my life, something impactful, because a lot of people just think about, hey, how much money they can make in this life. But honestly, that's nothing that you're going to take with you. Exactly. Once you leave this earth, the only thing you leave behind is how you were with people, how they're going to remember you, the impact that you have left behind. And when I leave this earth, I just want to, be remembered for somebody that created change, that gave something of purpose and meaning to everything. I want my kids to look at me, as any woman and any man, you want the children to look at you and be like, that was my mom, and have that pride, like I do for my mother. I mean, my mother is the cornerstone of everything I do. My parents, they came into this country, and from a very, very poor place. I'm from Colombia, South America. If anybody knows, is Siloé. It's a very, very poor part of Cali, Colombia.
Right.
My dad used to actually make my toys with wood. And
how about that?
The bathrooms were outside. I had to wash my clothes with, and hang them. I mean, it was, I went to an all-girls school too. So I was, my parents tried so hard to get me to the United States. My father came here, worked 3 years, 3 jobs, and to try to get us here legally so that I would have the opportunity that I now have.
How about
that? What I love about, and not to interrupt, Diana, but in this kind of ties in, because what I love is here's someone that came, I think you said you were 11 or 12 years old when you came to this country. She was so passionate about the opportunity that we have, and so many of us overlook in this country. But again, she not. I mean, can I tell how tall you are? She's 5 foot tall. Okay. She's doing a job in the military that a small percentage of women do. I think it's what do you say? It's like a rigger for
parachute.
What was your job in the military?
So I started as a parachute rigger. So we started with 30 females. We had to go through an AIT, a training of 3 weeks, and basically, if you pass that training of 3 weeks, then you go to the next level, and so on. So we started, and then you go to airborne school, and if you pass that, then you go to the actual rigging school, and you have 3 phases of rigging school as well. So you have to go through all of that before you can actually graduate. So we started with 30 females, and only 3 of us graduated. I was one of them.
Wow.
So when they saw me, they're like, we'll put you through, but don't be disheartened. It's only 10% of female that actually make it, and you're kind of small, and I literally look like a kid running around with all the guys, like, is that a child? No, that's just me. That's just
That's awesome.
The other thing too, JP, is again, now you understand why. I mean, she just has that energy, and when we were talking about hydration, and she's had multiple concussions in the military, and how that ties in, and she can share that. But the one thing I want to share, because again, I think you get a feel why I want to do this, because there's so many heroes out there that don't get the recognition and the sacrifices that she made, not just for herself but her own family, her own kids. She's a single mother. She's a cancer survivor on top of all this. So I mean, it's an amazing story, and again, we're so blessed to have her part of this team at Hydrate Heroes. And not to interrupt, but I don't want to forget that part of it, Diana, because I think that's inspiration for people out there that are watching and looking for that inspiration or whatever. But health and wellness is a universal language. No matter what, you have to have your health and wellness. If you don't have that, nothing else matters.
Hey, Diana, let me just ask you a quick question. Like in your 21 years in the military, what was the highlight for you? What was something that you accomplished where you look back and you say, wow, that was, I'm really proud of this particular moment or this particular time that I was in the military. Is there any one moment that you can point to?
Absolutely. it was the moment that I made it through airport school and the rigger school, and we were all standing there, and it was only there's 200 and some people and 3 females, and they're coming around, and they put your like your
medal.
it's like what shows, there's a medal that they put on you, that it shows that you graduate. And so the moment I stood there and they put that on me, like I just felt I did it, I did it. And everybody thought I was too small to do it too. But like every time that I got into that PT field, every time that we did any physical fitness, I would put my all into it, to the point that I would throw up every time, because I wanted to give my all no matter what, because I didn't want anybody to say, you can do it, you're not able to. No, like I wanted to say, yes, I can do it. And even if I can, I'm going to be putting my darnest best and all of my heart into it, and to show that I am able to do it. And when I graduated, and being the smallest, I'm 5. He took a little bit away from me, but I'm 5'2".
Okay.
And so the shortest person after me is
it's like saying Drew Brees is 6 foot, right, JP?
Yeah, right. We know how that works.
So so I think that was one of my proudest moments, as well as after 15 years of being a parachute rigger, I transfer over to become a human resource officer. Now, being that I'm a mom, I waited a long time before I can even go through the training for officer school, because I wanted my kids to be big enough so I can actually leave and do the training and concentrate. So when I went through it, I was 35 years old, and I was competing, because you have to compete for these slots, with 19, 20-year-olds. And so I was like, man, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. Plus, at that time I was married. He was away in a training at that point. And so I had the house, I had the kids, I had the dogs, I had,
oh my God.
I was going through school. Now, mind you, my major is in biology, pre-med, with a concentration in chemistry. So, and I decided to do that just in case if I didn't make it through the officer side of things, that I had something else to fall back on. And so, so it was really, really tough. And but I actually graduated top of my class, and I graduated with a 3.87 GPA with a biology degree.
What?
Yes.
Well, Diana, you are an incredible inspiration. I love your story. Michael said I would love your story. He was 100% right. And I think it just, in a time when, so many kids today feel entitled, and they have so many advantages, and all they want to do is bitch and moan about what they don't have. You look at somebody like you, who literally grew up with wooden toys, no PlayStations, wooden toys. And what you have accomplished as a mother, as a Army veteran is incredible. And, being part of the Hydrate Heroes team, I know Michael is incredibly proud of you. He speaks so highly of you all the time. We look forward to working with you and Michael. And
I do want to say one thing.
The one thing that was important, though, Diana, share with them, because I think I know we're probably pressed on time, but real quick, share why you got involved with Hydrate Heroes, because this was a game changer for me.
So one of the things that I was looking for transitioning out is to continue to give back to the community that I come from. I am now a veteran. I'm now out of the military. So, and it's very scary for a lot of us. And there's so much things that go on with coming out. And so I wanted to extend and continue to give back to a country that has given so much to me and my family. And so whenever I heard of, Hydrate Heroes, this is a product that is not only good for you. I actually also drink it. I've had several concussions because I've jumped many, many times out of perfectly good airplanes, Black Hawks, C-130, C-17, Chinooks, name it, I've jumped it. And but I have had some concussions because of the wind. Sometimes, you can't prevent those. I do have a lot of memory issues sometimes, but I don't allow things like that to keep me grounded. I just say, you know what? Yeah, I do have this little thing, something going on with me, but I'm going to set some reminders, do things to continue on. If you set yourself in a victimized mindset, that's where exactly.
Exactly.
You know, again, your thoughts drive everything. So when I saw this company that not only is a good thing, it gives you vitamins and everything, but it gives back to a community that I come from, 100% wanted to be part of it.
Yeah.
You know, and want to continue to give and want to continue to bring and also, you know, share the knowledge, because one of the biggest things in the military is there's just so many organizations that work to help the military, but they don't know about it.
Right. Yeah.
And so not only we're doing something, but we're also showcasing these organizations that help. So thank you so much for having us here. And
yeah, absolutely. No, we're glad to have you guys as partners, and I'm so glad that we can share stories like yours that are so incredibly inspirational. And I hope that will inspire others to do what you have done, and that's it's incredible. Diana, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it. Congratulations on a great career, Michael. Good job, my friend. We'll be back next week, and we'll have another one of our great heroes.
I'm coming after you, Tim. Don't worry. I got you covered.
I'm here for you, man. Just anything you want to give me, I'm happy for it.
We're going to hydrate you.
Change my life.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
All right. Have a great day. That's what a great story. I love stories like that, man. I'm so tired of hearing people bitch and moan about what they don't have and how they're, the world, it's all against them. And then you hear somebody literally, her dad is making her toys out of wood. You know?
Washing her own clothes.
Yeah.
Outside.
Outside. It's incredible stuff. Incredible stuff.
My kids complain when I don't do laundry twice a week for them,
Well, that's your fault. If you haven't taught them how to fold their clothes and do their, I mean, I had to do that stuff out of necessity. Like my mom wasn't doing it for me, so it's like you want clean clothes.
I'll just watch it because I don't let them run the machines. Right, I'm afraid of them running the machines, but they do all the folding, and then half the time they don't put it away. But anyway,
I got you. All right. Well, thanks to the great folks at Hydrate Heroes. And we appreciate them a ton. All right, what did we not get to today? We had the update on the Masters. Tiger, by the way, is as expected somewhat. I mean, it's going to be a tough. He's got to play 23 holes today.
Yeah,
23 holes today,
man. Right.
So he hooked one on 5 at last word. So he may struggle to make the cut. At this point, I guess the cut's going to be probably +3 or 4. So, and this golf course is going to get super fast over the weekend.
It's going to get a lot harder than it, before it gets easier again.
Yeah, my pick, one of my picks was Victor Hovland. That'll be my if he wins, I win about $775.
He tees off at 2:00 Eastern today. He's at 1 under on the tournament, tied for 16th.
I just don't know. Like I look at this leaderboard and I see Max Homa, your buddy. I'm like, okay, he's good. And maybe it's Tiger himself once went up to Max Homa and said, how many times did you win on tour? And that particular time he'd won like 2. Mm-hmm. He said, wow, that's it. He goes, you should win a lot more. And then the next 2 years he went on to win, I think four more times. So he's ready to win a major. I would say Homa's definitely ready to win a major. You agree?
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. He's on the cusp. For a lot of these guys, the first one's the hardest, right? It's like with any sport, any team, any athlete, the first one is the hardest, and then after that, look at Scotty Scheffler, man. When he first won on the PGA Tour, they came in droves after that. So I think it's pretty much the same for everybody with that same mindset.
Yeah. So I think you look at this leaderboard right now; they got a long way to go. Obviously, I don't believe in DeChambeau. I don't think those live guys are just as tournament tested as they need to be. I could be wrong. I mean, Rahm, of course he didn't join until this year, but
right.
And he played +1, which I would never think he would have been over par with his game. So I'm trying to look for some of the live guys that are up here. And I'm like, DeChambeau's really the only one, right?
Brooks is at 1 under. He's on hole 4 for a second round right now at 1 under. He's T25 right now. I never count Brooksy out, man.
No,
especially in a major. That's really all he cares about anymore, the majors. Sergio Garcia, also T25. He tees off here in a couple of hours, or in about an hour. I keep forgetting these are Eastern time.
Yeah.
But Yeah, I mean, as far as the live golf guys go,
Yeah, not many.
Yeah,
McIlroy's at 1 under par. Yeah, I mean, it's Scotty Scheffler goes out and shoots 66 in the first day. It's his to lose at this point.
Yeah, already.
You just don't. Tiger, by the way, is +1 through 6. So he's given away a couple shots on the last 2 holes. You just don't expect him to make a 9 on 15 like Jordan Spieth did. You just don't expect that. So,
right.
Unless something catastrophic happens, I think Mr. Boring is going to do it again.
To the detriment of all of us.
Yeah, we may start rooting against him just because it's so boring and so good. But you got to appreciate what he's doing.
No, absolutely, man. Yeah. It's hard in golf to say anything's unprecedented, right? Because Tiger set the standard for all these guys. But man, a lot of the numbers that Scotty's putting up, Tiger didn't do.
We'll leave with everybody with another great quip from Rick. Ohtani may as well hire Dr. Fauci as his interpreter.
Saw that.
Well said, Rick. All right, that'll do it for us here on a Friday. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Remember to like and subscribe on our YouTube pages, The JP Peterson Show and FanStream Sports. Like and subscribe on the podcast as well, because you can listen to this show anytime as a podcast. Just Google JP Peterson Show. Go on your podcast, whatever is your provider on Apple and Spotify. It's there. So just go ahead and like and subscribe and be notified when it drops every day just after noon. You can listen to it anytime. And also, we appreciate you following us on social media at Twitter, at our Instagram, and all that good stuff. Have a great weekend, everybody. We will see you on Monday. Oh, by the way, Sal Palantonio, who is covering the top 6 teams in the NFL and the top 6 draft spots next week. We will visit with him at 10:30 on Monday morning. Sal Pal will join us. Have a great weekend, everybody. Go Rays, go Bolts, and we'll see you on Monday.